You know, it's like my good friend Garth McMurray always said, mime is money.
I'd respond to that, but I'm miming and I'm not on camera yet.
Mime is money, y'all. Anyways, that wasn't what I was originally going to open this out with. The original thing I was going to open this up with is It's the Muppet Show on Disney Plus, starring your favorites, Robert and Chris Adams, the tagline. Yay! Yay! What's going on, everybody? It is Tuesday night, 9:30 or 40 p.m. Central Time. That means it is time for the tagline. We are the Cinefanatics. My name is Robert Adams.
My name is Chris Adams, and it's time to play the music. It's time to light the lights. It's time to meet the Muppets on the Muppet Show tonight.
You missed the line. It's time to get things started.
No.
That's okay. You didn't grow up with the Muppet Show like the rest of us.
I was literally looking at it. It's a different stanza. Shut your face.
Why are there so many? Oh man, hey, Garth is saying there's the Statler and Waldorf Adams. I can't click on it yet, but I actually have that's actually my favorite Muppets out of all of them is the Statler. There it is, the Statler and Waldorf. So I have those figures. They're on the background to our new bookshelf background with all the toys and books and movies and stuff on it. It's up there. But I absolutely love those two guys.
What do you call a church that's on fire?
Holy smokes! Oh, I love those two guys. Anyways,
the Muppet Christmas special.
Yeah. If you don't like the heat, get out of the farmhouse. Anyways, it's Tuesday night. It's time to get this show started. Now I'm quoting the Muppet Show theme all over the place. So real quick, news. That's not necessarily movie news, but I mean, the Muppets are a movie property, so I guess we can talk about them. We're not breaking any laws around here. I mean, this is our channel. We can do whatever we want. Huh? Yeah, but I don't know. Ooh, now that's stuck in everyone's head. Muppet Show is going to be on Disney Plus. The entire original Muppet Show.
It's about time. I've been waiting for that thing to pop up on there.
I got something new to watch before I fall asleep at night. Even though I technically need to be catching up on Clone Wars. In actuality, especially with the Star Wars shows that are going to be coming up. Yeah, I need to be catching up on Clone Wars and Rebels and all that good stuff.
Very much. You can probably skip on Resistance because I haven't even watched that one.
Yeah. Anyways, how are y'all in the chat doing tonight? I see we've got the usual suspects in the chat. We got Garth, we got Vernon. I see Brandon Buckingham in the chat. How are y'all doing tonight? Where are y'all up to? How's everything going? Garth, how are you doing in particular? I know you're still in the hospital, so hopefully that everything's going well there. Let's see. As for us, if you have questions, comments, the usual, streamlabs.com/cinefanatics. You can donate and ask questions there. Patreon.com/cinefanatics. Patreon. We got stuff happening on that. Today's Tuesday. Tomorrow night at around 9 p.m. Central Time. We will be doing our first Patreon. What are we calling this? Like the quiz hangout? I forgot what we have it listed as, like your title that you put on Patreon, but it's a movie quiz hangout. It's not broadcast. It's not live. It's just a hangout.
It looks at me, asks the question, and keeps going. It's
called because the title's not that important in actuality. I mean, everyone gets the point. It's a hangout where we're going to be talking movie trivia. Sounds good?
Oh, I can talk now. Yes, it's called the movie trivia scrimmage. It's a trivia scrimmage is what I call it. It's a fun little back and forth. We'll be asking each other questions. We're pretty much just going to make them up on the spot and just have a fun time palling around. If you want to pick a particular movie while we're hanging out, you can, but you got to jump on that $25 tier if you want to be a part of that tomorrow night. So,
yeah. And I believe Vernon made an offer. If there's anyone here who's not on the $25 tier, we were supposed to post it out, but we've been extremely busy the past like 24, 48 hours. If anyone wants to be on that $25 tier, let us know if you want to participate tomorrow night. And I guess Vernon's gonna hook you up basically. Just let us know, let Vernon know, and we'll go from there. But yeah, that's going to be tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Central Time, 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern. I don't know how long it's going to go. It's more of just a hangout type of thing. So it'll probably be for like at least an hour, maybe a couple hours or so. Just depends on how long we're all hanging out and how good the questions are hitting and stuff. Scrimmage, that seems too much like sports ball. Yeah,
it's okay. We're taking it back. Don't worry about it.
None of that sports balling around here. This is all movie questions and movie stuff, and
it's fine. We're taking it back. It's fine.
We'll take it back. Nice. Anyways, so that's tomorrow night. The other thing is last Friday, we did the live review of WandaVision episodes 1 and 2. That was a lot of fun. Combed through, like, not only did we review it, but we also combed through looking for the Easter eggs. It was a lot of fun to talk about those Easter eggs just because, I mean, we all like I see something and I know what that means. So it was a lot of fun to do that. We're going to do it again this coming Friday, also at the 9 p.m. Central Time. We are going to do a review for episode 3, which this one seemingly is taking place in the 70s. So that's why I got the 70s Wanda look here. So again, we'll come through.
Straightest hair ever.
Oh, absolutely. Anyways, we'll go through and see like what Easter eggs, what's happening. If you want to talk about it, come back Friday night. Again, 9 p.m. Central Time. It's probably going to be about an hour long. That's roughly what we're trying to keep it. And yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. If did you see something that we didn't see, feel free to drop it in the chat. We'll talk about it, and we can all collectively go, oh yeah, I didn't think of that.
That's funny. And that's funny because after we did ours, I checked out other people's like Easter egg streams and videos and stuff that they put out, and I was like, whoa, that's some stuff that we definitely missed, or I didn't see that there. And there's just a whole slew of stuff that happened in the first 2 episodes that none of us even caught.
Yeah, there was some of that, like what they were saying, like the devil's in the details. I know that like there was a lot of nods to Mephisto, and I didn't feel like there was really as much to really bring it up to talk about. But as we push forward, I will be more open-minded to see if that's going to be something that pops up some more, so we could mention it and talk about it. So,
especially since he's supposed to play a role of some sort within Multiverse of Madness, from what it sounds like. So yeah, he could be making an appearance here first.
Yep. Anyways, just checking a couple of things. How was your week?
The week that was January, whatever days it was okay. It was fine. More importantly, what happened today, though, is what is kind of the big thing for me, because I did my first physical therapy appointment. For those of y'all who have been paying attention to us, have been hanging out with us for the last, what is it? We've done 42 other episodes of this.
It depends on the number of this episode.
Yeah, it depends on if we're numbering them right or not. Yeah, you know that I've had some issues with my neck and everything, and I finally got in to see a physical therapist, and thank you, Lord Almighty, it sounds like they know exactly what's going on, and they know exactly what exercises and stuff I need to do to fix it, and within 4 weeks, I should have everything I need at my disposal to get myself back on the right track.
To live in a van down by the river?
To live in a van down by the
river! That's awesome.
You caught what I was throwing, and I wasn't throwing myself through a coffee table.
Yeah. Real quick, before we move on, I do like this. So here's the thing. Like, we've been doing this show for a while, and I like dropping like little things, and like as our audience starts to get more and more familiar with us, I do like stuff like this. Like, real truth, do you guys talk to each other when you're not streaming? I mean, those of y'all who know that we live together. Like these two rooms here are only like a couple of feet or yards apart, so we're in the same apartment. Yes, well, like I do ask him the question. So, how was your week? Yeah, I know how his week was. I do that to bolster conversation, to make entertainment happen.
Don't tear down the veil. Keep up the mystique. You are in Delaware, and I am in Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
Why was it? Those are the first words that came to my head.
I'm actually the one with the pain in the neck right now. So I just discovered BioFreeze, not a sponsor, and rubbed it on my neck yesterday. Oh, it's so good. Like, I will never go to Bengay or Icy Hot ever again.
We're both the ones with pain in the neck. Mine lasted longer.
Just because I'm older.
That's the truth. You got it. Nailed it.
Would you like this show to continue?
Yeah. How does that wall look?
Dirty. I kind of need to clean it just a little bit. Anyways, so one of the things I know for me that I've been working on, I got a new laptop because this thing ain't fast. This thing is slow. I got a new laptop to be able to work on video stuff, like say our ranking video that we did. We did the ranking of the 2020, like our top 10 2020 streaming services. By the way, those of y'all have watched it, thank you. That one, its performance is doing very well. We've tried doing ranking videos before, just one-off here and there. Maybe I didn't promote it right. Maybe it wasn't tagged right or something, but they just really don't seem to hit. We usually get like maybe 20 views total still. So I like the fact that one's getting some good traction. So thank y'all for watching it. If you've watched it already, if you haven't watched it, go check it out. It's on this channel. It's me and him with these faces. And it says like 2020 top 10 2020 streaming services. It was a lot of fun to make. I did a lot of creative stuff with it. I enjoyed it. Hope to do another one. We're not doing another one this week though, because the laptop that I bought, I did buy an open box, a used one, and it was still locked to the previous owner. So I can't do anything because I bought it at a retail store and I have no way of getting to that previous owner to, hey, I need you to unlock these things. So I'm stuck with a laptop I can't use yet. So I hope to be fixing that within the next like couple of days. Otherwise, we will be back up and having another ranking video next Wednesday.
Very soon.
Anyways, that's where I'm at with this, because stuff. Anyways, I think that's it for like personal stuff.
Quick, I didn't see.
What else is going on in the news?
Well, I'll say I didn't see, but I might have one more thing to add to the news list that I believe happened today too. So I can bring that up first when we get to news. Just let me know. You might have that logged down, but I want to go ahead and bring it up still anyway, just in case. But anyway, no, carry on. We want to talk about what we've seen recently, and I haven't seen anything new. I just rewatched Stranger Than Fiction, which is a fantastic movie, by the way. Rewatched it first time after a long time, and man, there's some stuff in there that I didn't catch the first time around.
Like the Sonic guys?
No, I knew they were there. They were apparent the first time I saw it, because back in the heyday, their popularity in the Sonic commercials.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the weirdest thing when I watched that movie. I was like, why are the two guys from Sonic in this movie, and why are they not talking about tater tots?
Why did they randomly just cast both of them into the movie at the same time?
That was just really strange. So I don't know why both of them like popped up. I can understand like if one of them was in the movie, and you're like, oh, there's that one guy from that Sonic commercial, but both of them? That was odd.
Yeah.
What else we got? You guys haven't swapped faces yet. No, that would get the views. Yeah. Gar says I'm 10 of those 20 views on our previous ranking videos. I know, like I did the one long time ago, like movies that I recommend. If like horror movies, I recommend if you don't like horror movies. So basically, all the horror movies I could think of that were popular mainstream but don't have like any blood, guts, and gore in it, because that's typically, for the most part, what people don't like horror movies for. And then, of course, you get the people that they don't like jump scares. They just don't like to be scared at all. So they don't like sitting there and like all of a sudden type of thing. Which still,
so basically, it's a list of movies that I would like.
Yeah, the list of movies that he could watch
that fall under the horror genre.
Yeah. You're not a master hacker, Robert. No, I'm not. There's some stuff I can hack. I hacked into I think I was like in 7th grade or so. I remember hacking into our computers at school because they were like the old Apple computers, and like the computer teacher who was in charge of them kept like all the games and stuff like behind, like you had to actually log into the hard drive to get to them, and it took a password to get to it. And I figured out that you could get into it by just opening every single app. For some weird reason, opening every application on the computer would cause the computer to feed back into its like actual like RAM, additional RAM that was locked in the hard drive. So it would force the hard drive to open without the password. And then I could access all the games they had, which was like Solitaire and Lemmings. So right. I don't know, go figure. But I remember doing that, and then like I got in trouble and I wasn't allowed in the computer lab unless I had supervision. Like I was gonna hack into like the national government internet or something next. Like first my high school, next the government. Like I'm gonna hack into the CIA or something. Like that was so weird. No, it's not Windows 10. It is a Mac. I do everything on my Macs because they all work together, and I like the way they work. I am on a network. I am an Apple fan, so. I guess. I mean, they're not giving me a discount, so. That's what I've been up to this past week and stuff and fun things. What movie news we got to jump into? There's a good bit here. There's a whole slew of like craziness going on.
Yeah. So the first thing I saw, again, I'm not sure. Can't remember if you said that you put this down last minute or not, but apparently CBS All Access is turning into Paramount Plus.
Oh, I did not do that.
No, yeah, it's happening in March. It looks like it is. They are transforming. They are discontinuing it being known as CBS All Access and turning it to Paramount Plus, which I feel like we all kind of saw coming, sort of, because that just seems like the natural way of rebranding things, because you want to start. See, the great thing about CBS All Access is you got your Star Treks and your shows and stuff on there, but that's not branded in such a way that you can maybe put all the Paramount parent company movies and stuff on there. So it's interesting to me that they're like, okay, you know what? They're just going to rebrand this, and now we're going to start including like MTV, Nickelodeon, and all the other like companies that are branded underneath Paramount. So
that would be kind of interesting, because they're going to sell that completely based off of the fact that they're probably going to have like all of SpongeBob SquarePants on there. Yep. I know they would sell to me if they would put like all the original MTV Beavis and Butthead on there. Because I will be. The what?
It probably will be.
Okay, that would be cool. Because I've only watched like a few of those episodes when I was younger, because I was not allowed to watch them in our household because it was MTV, and I just really wasn't allowed to watch MTV.
It was inappropriate.
MTV was a little too risque for our household when I was a kid, so
it was inappropriate.
I had to watch episodes of Beavis and Butthead on Friday nights after I have watched the family-friendly TGIF, and mom and dad were out like on their Friday night date, and they weren't home. I don't know where you were at, but then they would come back from their date night and my MTV viewing was over. It was funny because I used to have the remote control like sit there in my hand. I would watch MTV with it in my hand with the ability to hit like last channel, and I would have it go to last channel, something that looked like something I would watch, and then I would hit the channel up and down. So if they hit last channel, it obviously would not go back to MTV. And then I had like both the locks on the door locked to give me like extra time. So as soon as I heard them and the door started jiggling, I had plenty of time to hit those buttons. It's so funny. And I'm glad they don't watch this live stream because I'd probably be grounded for admitting that publicly. But I mean, you know.
They're going to ground you now.
Where are they going to ground? You're grounded to your room. I spend 90% of my day here anyways.
Thanks, Mom and Dad. You're grounding me after you got a divorce. Cool.
Thank you for grounding me to my room. My bed is here.
Beavis and Butthead, have you two ever thought about music video reactions?
Someone said that like on I can't remember, was it on Twitter or was it in a comment on another one of our YouTube videos, that someone actually said that we do resemble Beavis and Butthead. And here's the thing, we actually could if we did it upright. I mean, especially like me. Look at this. Yeah. Shut up, Beavis. Like, we could actually probably get away with it.
Speak for yourself. I resemble a Roman god.
Okay. A Roman
Look at
god.
My chiseled jaw. Look at it.
Yes, you do. You represent the Roman god of Cornholius. Like, you could easily be Beavis. So,
run, Squire, fetch my TP. I don't know if these are the words Squire, but
Squire, thou require TP for my bunghole.
Oh.
Anyways, I would love that.
So this Paramount Plus, I want to say that Comedy Central also falls under this.
Oh yeah, they do.
So you're going to get your South Park, and on top of that as well,
better get your Chappelle show and pay Dave Chappelle what he is owed for that.
Comedy Central specials and stuff, all of that. You know, you get your Daily Show, all of that. Here's the thing. This makes me start thinking. I know we talk about a lot about, oh, they introduced streaming services and how many more streaming services are there going to be? Well, this is a rebranding of one, so it's not a new streaming service per se. But what I'm concerned about is, up until this point, our big main streaming service that everyone always knows and talks about was Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
They're quickly running out of content that they're going to be able to show on their streaming service, because every other studio that owns that content is putting out a streaming service to play that content for themselves.
Yeah. So Disney, all Disney content from Netflix goes to Disney. All
Marvel,
the
Star
Brothers
Wars,
goes to HBO Max.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now you've got everything from Nickelodeon, Paramount in general, all your Comedy Central stuff. Peacock, Universal took back The Office and Parks and Rec. And obviously they got all the Universal stuff that's going to be going over there. Netflix, this is why I think Netflix, you see them like bolstering up their original content. And Netflix is eventually going to become hey, you signed up to our streaming service because you just like the stuff that we produce.
Yeah.
Now that's a problem if they keep canceling their shows after 3 seasons, but hey, that might not be here nor there. So,
yeah. It's kind of funny thinking back like at Netflix and how like I remember when they started, because I remember being in the military in Georgia having the subscription to their DVD. Because they would quickly get those DVDs out to you, and I got nothing else to do. I'm sitting in my dorm needing to watch movies, so I loved having that DVD subscription. But it was really funny that having that, and now look at where Netflix is. Like, I would have never thought back then that that's where Netflix was headed. So
it's because we didn't really know anything about a streaming service back then. Streaming services weren't really a thing.
That was let's say, what was that, 2000, 2001? Or, yeah, roughly. So that was even before YouTube became a thing, because YouTube really wasn't a thing until like 2005.
Yep.
Yeah. So interesting. Yeah, that's gonna leave a lot out of Netflix's hands, and I hope their original content is good. They have set themselves up to be really good as far as original content, just as long as they don't make a sequel to Bird Box.
Oh God, Bird Boxes
or Cuties.
Heyo, all right, moving on. What's next in the news?
Speaking of Warner Brothers and HBO Max, HBO Max was pretty much sold, and we said this in the streaming video. If you haven't seen the streaming video, you could click the right hand up here. No, we don't have that up here. They were basically started right out the gate by telling everyone, we're going to have the Justice League Snyder Cut on our platform. And that's been it's been almost a year. I would say they announced that back in March of last year. So we got a couple more months, and then it's been roughly a year since HBO Max had announced and then went live.
Yeah, they were doing it around the same time, going live with the service. And oh, by the way, we're gonna have the Snyder Cut, and they only did it in a way to make you think that it was going to be available on day one. But then they're like, oh no, it's not going to be for like another year.
But this is how good our service. This is where our service is aiming. This is the content that we're going to hopefully bring to you. So please go ahead and sign up right now to see what we have available for you now. In the future, here's what's coming.
Yeah.
Over the almost past year, there's been lots of things that have been happening with news about the Snyder Cut. We know that Zack Snyder's been working on it, going back and doing some kind of secondary shots, fixing some of the special effects, making Steppenwolf look even worse than he was before. And we've heard this kind of ping pong back and forth. Well, is this going to be a movie? No, this is now going to turn into a four episode, 1 hour long TV miniseries type of thing. Well, now it's been announced that this is going to be one 4 hour long movie. And it's not going to have a post-credit scene. No post-credits at all. Which, real quick on that one, I would say makes sense, because so far what we've gotten news about is that this has nothing to do with the rest of the DCEU. This is completely aside from any kind of a direction the DCEU may be going at this point. Who knows? But it is outside of whatever that weird line is.
Yeah, and that's a weird thing to say, because honestly, if this thing performs really well on HBO Max, they see there's a bunch of new subscribers and a lot of repeating viewings and everything. And and however the earning money back works on viewing content on a streaming service, if they see that it's a giant success, I could see them kind of walking back that statement a little bit, going, well, you know what? Actually, we decided that this is going to be the main continuity Justice League, and the one that we put in theaters before, forget about it. This is our story. This is where we're moving forward. And the only reason I could see them doing that, just as much as we've been seeing the news flip flop back and forth for them going, it's 4 episodes to no, it's just 4. It's just a 4 hour movie. Is that I don't think the DC and the WB knows what they're doing still with anything. We talked about the news announcement a while back where they were saying that they want to do 6 movies a year. They want to put 2 on HBO Max and then 4 theatrically, or 3 HBO Max, 3, whatever the breakdown was. That they come out with these things, they say these things, and then another movie comes out and they change their mind, or 6 months later they change their mind. And that's kind of been the big problem with what they're doing. Because I know that we should have gotten the Green Lantern Corps by now. We should have gotten a Cyborg movie, which that's definitely not going to happen.
That's probably not going to happen at this point.
And that's a completely different story, honestly. But still, I'm just eager to find out if they finally get a hold of a plan that they want to keep and actually keep to it. The problem is that I still think they're missing, and we've said this before time and time again, they're still missing their Kevin Feige over there. So
yeah,
we can talk about the SnyderCut all day, but I'm gonna be interested in watching it. I am, because there's a lot of hype built around seeing Zack Snyder's full vision that he actually had for the movie come to fruition. But outside of that, the DCEU is really losing me.
Yeah. They've been fairly decent, I would say, with the small tracks that they have in mind. While we on this channel, we're not huge fans of Wonder Woman 84, I could at least acknowledge, like, following Wonder Woman, it's a decent movie. It's nowhere near like a bad movie. I probably will watch it again eventually, someday, possibly. I don't know. But like, it was a decent movie. I would, like, if I want to put it into perspective, I would say it was probably better than X-Men: The Last Stand, easily. Like, I mean, it had some really good moments. There was some good character building. I did like Kristen Wiig in it. I mean, I don't want to retread over like not liking it again or re-reviewing it, but I think they were doing pretty good. Shazam. I mean, speaking of old TV shows, we'll cover some more here in a bit. They seem like they were on a pretty good track to grow that particular franchise. There's supposed to be Shazam 2. We're going to get, hopefully, maybe, possibly someday, Black Adam. So that franchise has some good potential there. Shazam was a good movie. Generally, people liked Aquaman. I'm not a fan of the character, but I mean, sorry, I don't mean to say that. Please don't dislike this video because I said that. I'm open. I like Aquaman. Aquaman's cool. He talks to fish. And I don't.
Look, we got a dislike on the video. Oh, look, we got 2 dislikes on the video.
2 punks. We did that on purpose. But I mean, like, again, I understand there was good storytelling in that Aquaman movie. There's a good direction for that franchise to go as well. So their individual franchises, if they could grow and expand upon them, fantastic. I'm with a lot of people. I want to see a Man of Steel 2. That would be great.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen him do something with Ben Affleck more, with like expand his Batman, not go back to whatever this like Battinson that we have here. While I'm eager for that movie as well, I want to keep. I want a one central, like, MCU with DC, and anything we get from DC is all connected to the DCEU. I know we're already like off the deep end with the Joker movie, so which that was pretty good. But I mean, anyway, again, that's something the MCU has done very well. And again, because we don't have that single figurehead like Kevin Feige, who apparently Ben Affleck absolutely loves. So maybe we'll see Ben Affleck in the Marvel Cinematic Universe now.
The greatest living producer of our age.
I mean, yeah. I don't know. I have not seen another producer, I would say, that could handle something as massive as what he's done so far. I'm completely not saying that as a Marvel comic movie lover, just as a movie lover. You find me one other producer who could take on a gigantic franchise like that. Like, not even Star Wars has had that level of a person in control. Oh, come on, what? What, George Lucas? You want to say George? Do you want to say George Lucas has had that level of control? Yeah, tell that to episode 1.
I don't want to say a damn thing.
But okay, no, I know where you're going, and as of right now, this second, I would agree. Dave Filoni with Star Wars is probably headed in that direction. But I mean, it's going to take more time and more producing for that really to come to full fruition. But I mean, he's done a fantastic job so far.
Okay, so I'll say something. Yeah, Dave Filoni has been fantastic for Star Wars television, but as far as like who's been one of the top producers, you do still have to give some credit to Kathleen Kennedy, even if you don't like the Star Wars movies that have been produced. Kathleen Kennedy is one of our top producers still. I mean, she's had her hands in like pretty much everything that Lucasfilm has done, and as well as Back to the Future. Did she like have a part like E.T. or something? Like, I mean, E.T.
Does she go back that far?
Oh yeah. Yeah. How old do you think she is? she goes back quite a bit.
I didn't know. I didn't think she had that much of a control way back when.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she did. Okay.
She's been one of like the top producers like of all time. So I wouldn't say necessarily at this point. I think I agree with Ben Affleck. I would put Kevin Feige as like pretty much the top, just solely alone on what has been accomplished with the MCU. And you have to, based on how much money the MCU has made, how successful each and every single one of those movies is in the box office. It's kind of hard to beat that at this point. But that's kind of off topic. We were talking about the Snyder Cut and how it's now 4 hours long. And you know what? I'll still watch it.
Oh yeah, and I saw like a news article that was talking about like how problematic is that instead of making it TV shows, making it 4 hours long. I was like, you know how many people are gigantic fans of the Lord of the Rings extended cuts? There's a lot of people that love those movies. Now, the argument for that, though, unfortunately, is there's still a lot of positive like feedback and reviews of the extended cut. A lot of people like those movies. They're very well reviewed still. I don't think you're going to get that unless you get that high level quality of review for the Snyder Cut. I think you are in a bit of a pushback. It's gonna be kind of hard to be able to convey that same kind of epic level storyline in a 4 hour long Justice League movie, especially in a movie where essentially most of it, the idea, the story that the movie is really based off of, we've already seen. We already know this movie is still going to involve Steppenwolf trying to get the mother boxes for Darkseid. There's added footage to it. There's more storyline that's being built around that, but that's still the follow through of this movie. And and I think that's going to be kind of hard to be able to build upon that and sustain your audience for 4 hours on something that we already know how it goes, and it didn't have a lot of like fanfare to begin with. Unlike Lord of the Rings, like say Return of the King, which was like 3 hours long and was already well loved just in that 3 hour cut. Then they expanded it to like 4 and people still loved it. That's why
we'll for sure have to see, because I know Zack Snyder's not using anything that Joss Whedon shot. So we'll have to see how much of the original story is actually intact and how much of the story they actually changed when Joss Whedon came aboard. But we'll see.
I mean, if that thing completely just takes off a whole nother direction, I would be very interested in. But so far, I mean, I have to assume, since this movie involves Steppenwolf, that's probably the direction that they're going again with it. So, I mean,
I was replacing mother boxes with bird boxes.
That's not going to make the movie better. I mean, I'm just saying.
No.
So, moving on. We're talking about who said that in here?
Who said that? Who said the thing?
Someone was saying that Godzilla vs. Kong trailer will premiere online on the 24th of January. You know, that's some good information to have there, because
it's a Sunday. Looks like we got something.
We like to do reactions to trailers here, so that'll be good to know. So we have that prepared, but namely because Godzilla vs. Kong has been moved up. It's been moved up from, it was coming out in May in both the theater and HBO Max, which if you can see that in a theater, go to a theater. It's Godzilla vs. Kong. Don't watch it on your phone. But it's been moved up to March 26th.
Oh, the way Chris Nolan intended me to see this.
To watch Tenet. What you need one of those refrigerators that has the little screen above the ice maker, and then that's where you watch Tenet.
Take your kitchen stool, just set it down there, and you just watch it.
Put a kitchen stool. Anytime you need a drink, you just like reach up and like refill your glass. And hey,
I want some snacks. Oh darn it!
Open the door. There's some cheese. Yeah. But yeah, they're moving this. This is kind of funny because we're reporting news on a movie being pushed up instead of pushed back.
This is the first time in a very long time that we've talked about a movie being pushed up.
Are we sure everything's okay in the world? Like, we didn't like fall into like the bizarro world, did we? I mean,
2021 seems very different than 2020.
Already our movies are being pushed forward instead of pushed back. Like, yeah, that's odd for that. So I like the fact that the trailer, that there is possibly going to be a trailer coming out the 24th, because I'm eager to see it. Again, we've said it before on here. Like, I'm not a huge fan of like the Godzilla movies we've gotten already. I could kind of understand like the argument of the first Godzilla. I think that played more into the Mutos.
Yep.
And the King of Monsters was very Godzilla-less. For most of that, I think that played more to the humans involved more than the monsters.
No, to be fair, the King of Monsters did have more Godzilla than the first one did, but the problem is that the storyline they had surrounding everything was just kind of dull. It just felt kind of dull to me. The first one I really liked, even though Godzilla was only heavily featured more towards the end of the movie. I still really enjoyed it, and the storyline for the human characters in that movie wasn't as dull as King of the Monsters. That being said, again, we're still looking forward to Godzilla versus King Kong because it's Godzilla versus King Kong.
Skull Island wasn't bad. Skull Island was interesting.
I like Skull Island. I thought it was really good. But yeah, I'm very much on board with the movie being pushed forward instead of back this time. I understand, like, obviously the world and mostly the United States is still fighting through some of that pandemic stuff, but for the most part, we're rocking theaters open in some locations, putting in a bunch of safety protocols. It's a nice thought to see some of these movies kind of trickle back into the theatrical style, even if a lot of people are probably still going to go to like HBO Max for this just because they don't feel safe, and that's completely their prerogative. It's completely fine. Totally sound decision making. For those who do feel safe in the theater, I'm glad that it is still being put there, and that they're even moving it up so that we can kind of get these trailers and get some of these movies back in store. Very selfishly for us, because we are
want something to react to.
and we need the content for our channel.
I want to react.
Last year was very dry for the content on our channel. We were in a desert, so to speak. So it's nice to have that oasis back again.
And no one likes a dry channel. I'm just saying.
Nobody likes a dry channel. I know they make creams and stuff for that, but
there's creams and moisturizers, lubricants. Anyway, so speaking of lubricants,
what?
Yeah, so in the chat we got Aqua Waters. I can't believe we haven't gotten a Godzilla vs. Kong trailer yet. That's what I was saying. Like, apparently it's coming, and again, as these movies more and more, as we get like more into this year with the vaccine and everything that's being more prevalent, I believe we're going to start seeing more and more movies like really anchoring into the spot that they're in. The other issue that we have with this to keep in mind is that 2021 movies already were being planned and set up, and now we're also getting the 2020 movies that are having to build around them. Some of those 2020 movies still have the same amount of hype that they had to begin with. Say Fast and Furious 9. That's one of those movies that whatever weekend it chooses to come out, you don't plan anything else to come out that weekend. If you were a movie that was like in 2021, You got to move. that Fast and Furious 9 is going to dominate that weekend. So I think a lot of this is, while we should have seen trailers so far already for some of these movies, they're really looking at where can they actually anchor at. And I think that's probably a lot of the reason why the Warner Brothers movies are going day and date with HBO Max, is because if nothing else, they're like, screw it with the theaters. We could at least release on HBO Max so people can see that, and we'll just anchor to that particular day. If you have a theater open to see it, you can see it in the theater if you want. If not, there's HBO Max. We're going to push this movie out and continue on with our lives. And I think that's what they're doing here.
Yeah, because the other side of the coin is that you get a situation where Bond is being pushed again.
Yeah, how many trailers have we gotten on that so far?
We've gotten, I believe, pretty much all the typical trailers that you would get for that movie. First, second, sometimes a third. We've gotten all the trailers, all the marketing for that. It's getting pushed again. It's not that we forget there's another Bond coming. It's that general audiences, people with other stuff in their lives who aren't thinking in the movie space day in and day out like some of us are, they're doing other stuff. They're going to work, or they're staying home and homeschooling right now, or they're doing other stuff that's just taking up priority space in their mind. They're not going to remember that, oh yeah, there was supposed to be another Bond movie that was coming out. And so all the marketing that you've done is kind of money out the window at this point. And I think that's one of the biggest issues with this pandemic and what it's done to 2020 movies, is that all the marketing that you did for these movies is really out the window, because if you're pushing them a year away, you're going to need to do all that marketing over again to get back into people's minds and let them know, hey, this movie does exist. It is coming. Oh, right. That's right. I do want to go see that. We were supposed to get that movie already.
And the one that I will keep bringing up is, if you look at the amount of money that the marketing for Fast Furious 9 has used, remember, they've only released one trailer. That trailer came at the end of a live YouTube broadcast of a massive concert. I believe it was like 2 or 3 hours long, and then they premiered the trailer. That was millions of dollars spent on that particular marketing to bring you that concert, to bring you that trailer. And then it was like a week later, they're like, oh, there's a pandemic, let's just push this back. I think it was more than a week, because I think there was like probably an entire month in between the pandemic when that trailer came out. But I mean, still, that was like a month and a half. That's a huge amount of time there, that all of a sudden they're like, oh, no, we're just going to push this all the way till next year. We haven't seen hide or hair of a trailer since then. Very little talk on the internet about it. So
that still makes me laugh, because back when they did that, we were all going, really? A year? You're going to push it a full like 365 days? Really? You think this is going to be that bad? Just push it a couple months into maybe like the end of summer. You should be fine.
Nope.
Well, here we are a year later. We're going, I wonder if they're going to push it again. I think at this point, though, like everything that's supposed to come out that last year, that's supposed to come out this year, Bond aside, I don't know if we're going to be seeing too many more pushes. I think you're going to start seeing like what Warner Brothers did for HBO Max. You're going to start seeing a lot of these. If they're not pushing to a streaming service of some kind day and date, they're going to be doing video on demand day and date. So that's kind of where we're at with this stuff. You see Godzilla and not so fast, they're furious.
I like that.
Very furious, not quite fast. That's going to be like when they all like come back together in their old age. Everyone's like really old in a retirement home, and they're all very angry, but they're not quick anymore.
They've all got NOS tanks hooked up to their wheelchairs. I'm looking for a 10-second wheelchair.
They're going to be wheeling out to the courtyard, having races with each other around the fountain.
I roll my butt a quarter mile at a time. Like, really?
That's actually pretty quick. Actually really quick for your age. Anyway, we're going to start seeing if like movies like this, they're getting pushed up, but I think we're going to start seeing all these movies are pretty much going to be locking in to where they're going to be at, and some of them might call a video on demand day and date or a streaming service day and date, but they're not going to be too keen on pushing these movies too much more, unless of course there's like some hard evidence that, okay, in like 3 months time, I don't know why the freckle on my arm has anything to do with it, but in 3 months time, it's for sure we're going to have the vaccine rolled out to enough people, and it's going to be safe to kind of go back out in public again. You know, then you have a little more hard evidence. Like, okay, you know what? Let's push it just a little bit more. That way, we can ensure that there's going to be more of an audience that will feel safe going back to a theater again. But outside of that, and I don't think that in 3 months' time we'll be in that position. But outside of that situation, I think, yeah. All these movies are going to be locking into place where they're at and going to be doing some kind of video on demand and theater simultaneous releases, which none of us predicted that. You know, at the top of this whole thing, we were kind of thinking, how do you get theaters back in action? How do you get them rolling again? And none of us really thought like, well, maybe if they do like a slow trickle of releasing it for home viewing and theatrical release, then then we can start reeling back into, okay, no home releases on this one, theaters only. That's an interesting way to go about it.
I mean, look at real quick, because I know we need to move on, but I mean, look at what happened with Wonder Woman 84. That was a big blockbuster that was supposed to come out earlier in 2020, and then they released it. Like, say, if you have HBO Max, you get it for free, or you can still go see it in the theater. The thing to keep in mind is, for almost the cost of one movie ticket to go see Wonder Woman in the theater, you could have HBO Max, or you could subscribe to HBO through your cable provider and get access to HBO Max as well. You could have all that content that HBO has, that Warner Brothers has on the HBO Max platform. You could have all that content for the same cost as going to a theater once for one person to see Wonder Woman 84. And there was still a significant amount of box office revenue made off of Wonder Woman 84. So yeah, people are desperate to go back to a movie theater the second that they're able to, whether it's your own personal comfort level, or if it really is like, hey, this is over, let's go back to the movies and let's all celebrate. Because I don't know about anyone else, I am eager for a midnight Rocky Horror Picture Show again, which I know the Alamo Drafthouse here in Austin, Texas is very happy to oblige by that. But
where's your neck? It's right here and it hurts.
Look, I am waiting for that with great anticipation. Say it. Patient. Moving on. So speaking of indie type films, Kevin Smith announced that Clerks 3, the script is complete. A lot of this is stuff that he's been planning on for a while. Some of this seemingly has to deal with like him since having the heart attack. What are you doing?
I'm trying to do a crowd cheering sound effect, but I don't have that available to me. So
yeah, we don't have the stream deck on this. Yeah. But Clerks 3, the script is done. Which means they're moving forward, and from what was announced by Kevin Smith, apparently they've got like Dante, Randall, Elias, Becky, like a lot of these characters are coming back for this one. I am so super eager for this, because if you remember the end of Clerks 2, Dante and Randall have decided to buy the Quick Stop with money loaned to them by Jay and Silent Bob, who are also back, of course. But they're now running the Quick Stop again. And as much as I love Clerks 2, I love the back and forth. Just the nature of the first Clerks movie, where there really wasn't that much of a story. It really was like individual vignettes of how they interacted with customers throughout the day. Anyone who works customer service in any form or fashion just immediately connected with that, didn't you? He says yes. So, like, I'm so super eager for this. I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan. I love the fact that he's a part of the Movie Trivia Schmodown. If you don't know what that is, just look up the Movie Trivia Schmodown. If you like movie trivia, you will like that show as well. But the other thing I like is that Kevin Smith released like the first, what was it like? Was it like half a page of the first page, something like that, right? Yeah. So weird. I have to look at the wall and then look back here for the actual like interaction response. Yeah, I know. So that half a page is basically saying Dante's pulling up, getting out of his car, walking into the quick stop with My Chemical Romance's Welcome to the Black Parade playing. I'm very interested in this. The music for the original Clerks was great. And let's see if I can remember the music for Clerks 2. Yes, Clerks 2 had a good soundtrack as well. Kevin Smith has been really good at his use of music in his movies. And so therefore I expect Clerks 3 to have like really good music as well. You do realize that while you're the one that's being silent, I'm technically the one named Bob. It's not Rob and Silent Chris. So your thoughts on Clerks 3 there?
I got nothing.
No, that checks.
I'm so glad I was able to play that bit out to that extent. Yeah, no, this is great. I'm very happy for Kevin Smith. I love that he is trusted enough that he's able to like go in and like kind of finish these movies, these series of movies that he made back in the day when he had $5 to his name to make a movie with.
Yeah, I mean, Clerks he had to take out a loan and he had to sell off like his entire comic book collection to get the funding for that. Or he had to max out a bunch of credit cards, sell his comic book collection, which of course he has since replenished with an entire store, which now he's in the middle of relocating his the Jay and Silent Bob secret stash, which that's fun to watch on I think it's on his YouTube channel where they're talking about it. I like Clerks 3. I want to see this. Like my body needs this type of thing.
Interesting phraseology. But yeah, the thing about it is, even if you for some reason you don't like the movies, which okay. If for some reason you don't like them, you at least have to love the romantic side of movie making that you pick up. Like Kevin Smith is actually making Clerks 3.
Yeah.
Like he's actually gotten to a point in his career where he can make Clerks 3 and he's got studio funding to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just really cool. That's just a really cool thing.
Yeah. Let's dive back. Oh yeah, before we get into more movie news. Yeah. Thank you, Shug. Speaking of the Schmodown, those of y'all who aren't following, the Movie Trivia Schmodown is so popular that you have a lot of after shows reactors. It's basically the Sports Center of after shows with the Movie Trivia Schmodown. The Let's Get Ready Network they're big fans of the Schmodown as well. They do like a lot of reactions and breakdowns to the Schmodown. Go check those people out over there because they are all fine people to listen to get to know. And I'm just lost in words here. Like that's how they make me feel. I'm just lost in grammar. Is that something I should get checked out?
Well, here's the thing. You should get something checked out, but I don't know if that's it.
Good point. Moving on. Let's get back into the Marvel Cinematic Universe real quick.
Okay.
If we must. Sure. It was reported that Chris Evans is coming back to the MCU. Now, I will say real quick that this was some news that was blasted out, and Chris Evans was quick to on his Twitter to do like a shrug emoji with news to me. So I mean, I don't believe anything that anyone says in Hollywood nowadays. I mean,
the thing about this whole situation is, yeah, the thing about this whole situation is, do we trust the news story? Do we trust Chris Evans' response to the news story?
I don't know.
Really, so there's not a whole lot to say here other than if you get surprised at all that Marvel can throw money at Chris Evans to try to bring him back and he'll actually do it, then you're going to be surprised about a lot of things that movie studios can accomplish. Because it's not very surprising. Like, I think that we love the way Cap's storyline ended, but I think the thing to keep in mind is that if he comes back, it's not necessarily to continue the storyline of Cap past Endgame because he's old. You can't. It's more so to maybe bring him back in. I know, like they're talking like maybe he's coming in to shoot like another one of those funny little PSA videos like from Spider-Man and play it like within the Miss Marvel show. Mm-hmm. This kind of thing, this kind of negotiation, that could play into part of it, and that would lead into why Chris Evans would be quick to go, am I back? I don't know, because he can't say anything. He can't say anything if that's the case.
There's been rumors that we know it's been announced already that Kang the Conqueror, who is a time traveler, has already been announced for the next Ant-Man movie. Given the fact that he has the possibility to play with time and that Captain America was also essentially playing with time come the end of Endgame, there might be some crossing of the streams, really, of the two of them, and that might be where he like fits into this. I know a lot of people on the internet, they were all saying that they don't like this just because seemingly Captain America's story arc is done. Like they ended it perfectly. There's no reason, there's nothing else that needs to be said about Captain America. He could just continue his nice peaceful life with Peggy Carter and we're all done with it. So there's that. The other one I saw was that he could potentially, because we've got WandaVision and Doctor Strange is going to be dabbling in some multiverses. There might be some kind of like an alternate universe where he is playing a Captain America, but strictly for Hydra, where he's like this Captain America bad guy, like a Bizarro Captain America, so to speak. That's the second time I've referenced Bizarro tonight, and that's really weird.
You got Bizarro on the brain,
I guess. But there's also that as well, where he may pop up as like a random villain in some movie at some point. So
this is the storyline idea I'm into. The new story will show how Steve Rogers in the 60s and 70s started a show for kids called Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Yeah.
And he changed his first name to Fred. That's so I mean, that's the thing, is we don't know to what capacity this is. This really could just be, oh, he's coming back for one small cameo appearance, a la Loki turning into him for a Thor movie or something. It could be coming back for something like that, in which case there's no reason to have this big to-do over Chris Evans is coming back to the MCU. It's going to be a little, there, it's Cap. Oh, look at that. We miss him. And then move on.
Yeah.
So, it remains to be seen. I don't know if we're going to get too much more news about this. It might just be kind of one of those, just wait and see what TV show or movie he randomly pops up in, if in fact this is even true.
Yeah. The other one, speaking of people popping up in the MCU, is Matt Damon has apparently been seen, or it's been reported that he's going back to Australia, where Taika Waititi is currently in the process of filming Thor: Love and Thunder. The last time we saw Matt Damon in the MCU was at the very beginning of Thor Ragnarok, during a play that was being put on for Loki/Odin. Are you okay?
Matt Damon.
There you go. There it is. I was looking for that. Where Matt Damon was playing Loki in this play. That is his interaction with the MCU thus far. So the thing is Australia right now is extremely strict on their quarantining of people, especially if they're flying from America, because
they're doing great. They got concerts and stuff over there. We're
doing fantastic on wearing our masks and staying COVID free over here.
Be nice.
So we don't know, is he playing the same character from Thor Ragnarok, and is this another cameo? I would assume no, just because by him having to go to Australia, he has to quarantine for like 2 weeks there or so before he's allowed to be out and about and interacting with other people. I don't know if Matt Damon, movie star elite up here, has the time to, or if the studios even want to pay for Matt Damon and his family, who's also happens to be with him, I guess, to quarantine for 2 weeks in Australia, not able to go anywhere or do anything before he's able to film a cameo role again for another Thor movie.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be a cameo, but the thing of it is that he very well could honestly still be playing the same exact character, and that character could just be more important than we thought he was in Ragnarok. We thought, you thought it was just a one-off funny little cameo in Ragnarok, but it turns out that character is actually somebody and is actually going to do something. That would be hilarious.
Possibly. We got Christian Bale as playing Gore the God. Was it Gore the God Hunter or whatever?
God Butcher.
God Butcher. Like, Christian Bale is playing this character. This isn't your A-list of Marvel villains here either. So, I mean...
No, but Marvel has had a tendency with taking a lot of their C, D list on down characters and turning them into household names.
Yeah. Propping them up higher, letting them ascend to the ranks of fantastic characters that we all love.
Look,
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Freaking Groot and Rocket Raccoon are pop culture icons now, and prior to that movie being anything, the only thing I knew about Guardians of the Galaxy was the little figure set that was sitting on the shelf at the toy store I worked at.
Yeah,
back in the day. And that was the extent of my knowledge of who Guardians of the Galaxy were. So that's kind of the turnaround that you see Marvel's had. So I don't know. He very well could be playing a FGH list character within Thor Love and Thunder, or is he going for Thor Love and Thunder, or are they shooting something with him for the Loki show? Don't know. There's a lot of interesting stuff there. I don't know.
I did like that. Like, he was the angel Loki in Dogma, which, I mean, same name as the God of Mischief, but and then you had the mask was of Jim Carrey was the Mask of Loki, which it was sought after in the second movie by Alan Cumming, who played Nightcrawler. Yeah, who were all in a movie with Kevin Bacon.
It's all connected.
Yeah, Schmominati. So yeah, MCU stuff happening is weird. Let's talk about something that happened today. Like something that was announced today that this
breaking.
The what?
Breaking news.
Yeah, something that happened today before I was able, or after I had already created the thumbnail for this show, because nothing else big newsworthy is going to happen after I create this thumbnail, because Hollywood always checks in with me and make sure I'm ready to report and talk about news, and nothing else could ever happen without Hollywood telling me at all whatsoever, because that's how Hollywood works.
And our show is done for the night. Good night, everybody.
They're doing a Willy Wonka prequel, like the younger version of Willy Wonka. This is predicted to come out in 2023, which means it's predicted to come out in 2025 at this rate. Right now, the short list, I guess, that I read is saying that they're looking at possibly Timothy Chalamet or Tom Holland in the role of a younger Willy Wonka.
Of course, they're looking at those two.
And that this movie is seemingly a prequel to the original Willy Wonka with Gene Wilder, not a prequel to the Johnny Depp. Because, well, that movie has Johnny Depp in it. And let's not do anything that involves Johnny Depp right now.
Anyway, the thing that interests me here is nothing. No, this is going to be a story of how did Wonka get the Oompa Loompas? How did he acquire the capital to be able to create a factory like that?
Which, you're treading on some really, really some really hard takes there when you talk about that. Because, essentially the Oompa Loompas, I guess they were like African pygmies or something like that is what the storyline is, at least according to the original Roald Dahl books that I read a long time ago. So I might be wrong about it, but I believe that's what it was at least inferring. That doesn't bode very well, but that's what we're looking at. We're looking at grabbing a bunch of the Oompa Loompas are a tribe of people from one nationality being brought over to work in his factory.
I think what it's going to end up being is that the way they're going to have to do it, he's going to have to put out a one ad for need help factory workers for new chocolate factory. And then all of a sudden he's going to hear a knock on his door, open it, and there's just going to be a slew of Oompa Loompas going, "We heard you needed some help.
I feel like this was like that
We
movie.
have the magic hands to help you."
I feel like this was like the Minions movie with Despicable Me.
Honestly, kind of, yeah.
Banana!
Chocolate!
Yeah.
Pretty much that exact thing. This is one of those projects where right now I'm kind of like, I don't really care about this. I don't want to see this isn't the story I need. I liked the idea of there being some mystery to who Willy Wonka was, how he got to the place he got to before he passed off the factory to Charlie. I liked that. I think it really adds to the character of who Willy Wonka is, that you don't know anything about him or where he came from. And that's kind of one of the reasons, even though I know that they were kind of keeping it closer to the book, one of the reasons why I didn't like the new Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is because they showed a lot of Willy Wonka as a kid, and his dad was a dentist, and all this stuff, and it was like I'm not connecting with these kinds of story elements. So this might be one of those things where it's like, hey, let's see what a trailer for this movie looks like, and then we'll kind of make a judgment call then. But
yeah, and looking back at the original Willy Wonka with Gene Wilder, that was one of the points to that, is that you don't know anything about Willy Wonka. Gene Wilder even went so far, most of y'all have probably already heard the story or know of it, is when we first see Willy Wonka, when he's greeting everyone at the gate, he does that fall and then a last second tuck and roll. And he improvised that, basically saying, because from that moment on, you don't know whether to take Willy Wonka serious or not. You don't know if he's joking or if he is actually being serious. And I love that about him, that that one simple move that was improvised created that mystique. And I think that was all you really needed to know about his personality going into that movie. I feel like going back and doing a Willy Wonka origin movie kind of gonna ruin that mystique just a little.
Yeah.
So aside from that, going and doing something like this where it is a beloved character and you're trying to get someone like Timothy Chalamet or Tom Holland, I think that's fantastic casting. Argument of whether or not we need this movie aside, if the movie is coming out, it's going to be made. That's a good cat. Either one of them would be fine choices.
This might be one of those situations where if I were like Tom Holland or Timothy Chalamet, I'd look at it and go like, does it just sound like a fun thing for me to do in my career? Because I probably wouldn't look at it with the eyes of saying, this is going to spawn something huge for me. This is going to be a big deal in my career. This is going to be a huge shining moment. This isn't going to be like Will Smith passing on Neo. This is going to be like, if we pass on this, Timothy Chalamet's over here like, well, you know, I did Dune.
Yeah.
I did a bunch of other like artsy movies that really feel fulfilling in my life and career. I don't necessarily need to do this. And Tom Holland's like, I'm Spider-Man. My career is set already. I don't know if I need to. So I don't know. There's a whole lot to talk about around this, and it's just like, as of right now, just the news of its existence is kind of like, okay, I guess that's going to be a thing.
I know we're kind of waiting on like a director to really, like, once you get a director, you could start kind of telling what the direction of this movie is potentially going to go. And one thing I was reading is I believe they were talking about potentially trying to seek out Taika Waititi for this, which again might be fun.
That does put a little bit of a different spin on it. If you hear Taika Waititi is attached to anything dealing with Willy Wonka, all of a sudden you're like, well, now hold on. Let's give this a minute, because that fits.
Now, here's the thing, and I'll be perfectly honest. When I first heard that Tim Burton was doing a Willy Wonka movie, I was like, okay, Willy Wonka, I mean, there is very dark parts of that movie, even the original one. There's very dark things about that. The kids all seemingly die throughout this movie in very grotesque type of ways, if you think about it. I know they played it up for like it was family friendly and no big deal, but I mean, it was kind of grotesque the way that they all had to leave the chocolate factory. And then of course that boat ride, which was not kid friendly at all.
Can't eat chicken.
Yeah. So when I heard that Tim Burton was doing, I was like, okay, this could be fun. But then not only did he not do like the super scary boat ride, he also showed the kids leaving the chocolate factory at the end seemingly okay. Some of them were kind of like messed up for the rest of their lives, but
physically stretched out
and they were fine. I was like, the original movie was more darker than the Tim Burton version. That's weird. So
this is the comment that I pretty much agree with. There's a good version of a Wonka orgy, and that's 100% not going to be the movie we get. And I pretty much agree with that. As of right now, obviously, you know, again, things can change when you get a director, the actual cast, you see a trailer or something. But for the most part, I don't trust a studio to be able to produce an actual good Wonka origin movie, because you're treading on territory that a lot of people hold dear that shouldn't be treaded on. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is a classic movie. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those that I would say, like, I don't necessarily know if I want you to touch that. And Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, for me at least, proved that, hey, maybe just don't. Maybe just don't. So, again, director Taika Waititi, okay, that changes some things inside for me. Maybe I'm kind of interested in that. Outside of that, maybe just don't.
Yeah. So, anyways, let's move on to our last few movie topics here. Again, this has been like a plethora of like weird one end to one end. And we're going to keep pushing on to one weird, wacky side of this movie news. Before we go, though, or before we jump into that, again, y'all are free to throw in like some streamlabs.com/cinefanatics. If you want to do the super chats are good as well. We prefer the Streamlabs because, I mean, they take less money on that end. But and then also want to remind patreon.com/cinefanatics. Let's do some movie trivia quizzing tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Central Time. Hop on the $25 tier if you are interested on that. So patreon.com/cinefanatics.
The hangout for that trivia is going to be broadcasted. We're probably going to use the same service, StreamYard, that we're using for this, but it's not going to be something that's broadcast. It's not going to be a public stream that people are going to be able to watch. It's going to be a private. We're all just hanging out. So if you have any kind of like nerves about appearing on camera on a show, you're not going to be on a show. You're just going to be we're all just going to be hanging out. So if that's something that's kind of stopping you from wanting to do that, feel completely fine. You're not going to be in front of an audience of sorts. You're just gonna be hanging out with us.
Before we dive into more movie news as well, I do realize that I forgot to talk about what movies I saw this past week. So I want to catch on. I'll fly through it real quick. I did watch that Promising Young Woman. Interesting movie. I kind of liked it, but I feel like I agree with the general consensus of the internet in that the third act is a little it's a little weird. I can get why people are not a huge fan of that, but also I understand there was like some news article that came out where people were talking about that, like, people need to be talking about this movie a little bit more than they actually are. The meaning, the storyline of this movie is definitely something that needs to be talked about more often, and I definitely like it. So the movie in general, good message. The ending, strange, but otherwise. And then I also watched Vampire's Kiss for the first time in prepping for, we recently did the watch along of National Treasure. And while National Treasure really isn't your wacky, zany Nicolas Cage type of movie, I did want some wacky, zany Nicolas Cage that day. So I watched Vampire Kiss, and that's quite possibly one of the craziest, zaniest Nicolas Cages ever. Like that movie, it was okay. There's some stuff lacking on it, but I mean, in general, gave it like 3 out of 5 stars on my Letterboxd. So you can check out Letterboxd. My Letterboxd is also at Robert Adams MLP, so you can find it there. So speaking of older things, they're gonna make a movie, like a biopic about Lucille Ball. Now, I'll say right off the bat, they did a not necessarily an entire biopic, but like a moment in time of Judy Garland with Renee Zellweger. Not last year, but the year that we were watching movies in theater. And that movie was fantastic. So there's seemingly going to be a movie about Lucille Ball, who's easily one of the top actresses from back in the day. At least like in your TV comedy sitcom actress. She's responsible for I Love Lucy with her actual husband, Desi Arnaz, who was Ricky Ricardo in that. They're going to make a biopic on there. And right now they're talking about it starring Nicole Kidman and was it Javier Bardem?
Yep. Nicole Kidman as Lucy and Javier Bardem as Desi. Yeah.
Interesting casting there. Thoughts?
Interesting is a word choice. I think I kind of have an issue with this, and obviously, like a lot of things, this is strictly going to be opinion pieces. I know some people might like the idea of this, but both of these people are really good actors. Nicole Kidman and Javier Bardem been in some of my favorite movies. They are two people who are just excellent at the craft. They are trusted go-to if you want just a great actor and actress in your movie. These are the names you go to, of course. The problem is that they don't look like Lucille Ball or Desi Arnaz, like, at all. And this tells me that the studio isn't quite hitting the balance you need to find between actors who can physically portray and look like the people in real life, but also act as them as well. The studio is kind of hinging on let's get some names that we know maybe will sell tickets and maybe will prop up the award, kind of like an award baiting, essentially. This is trying to get awards type of casting, and I don't think it's hitting the right box that's necessary for this. You're looking at these two characters. I mean, Lucille Ball was just an incredibly goofy but gifted comedic actress, and while I know Nicole Kidman has done things that are funny, I don't run to Nicole Kidman when I'm thinking somebody who needs to portray a goofy comedic actress. I think of like a Kristen Wiig type when I think of that. That is the type of person that you should be casting for Lucille Ball, is someone like her. I don't know if are you looking up the one picture of the one actually? Yeah.
Yep.
So there's the other actress that
we are on the same wavelength tonight.
Yeah, there's another actress that fits that mold. He's obviously looking up the picture of her, and he's going to show that off. But we're talking about Debra Messing. Yeah, Debra Messing is Lucille Ball, which this was for like Will and Grace. So
they did a tribute episode on Will and Grace where, I mean, they all kind of like dressed up. Like you see Debra Messing here as Lucille Ball. Yeah. Yeah, so you see Debra Messing over here as Lucille Ball, and then of course you got the other characters are in there. I kind of like how this like set up. This is actually like I can't figure out where to point. What the hell? I do kind of like how this set up there. This is kind of like the fun awkward. So as you can see in this picture that's right here, you do have Debra Messing as Lucille Ball, and she looks fantastic.
Hey, what am I looking at right now?
You are looking at Will's butt.
Oh, okay then. Anyway, yeah, she looks like
she looks Eric like McCormick's fantastic posterior right there.
Okay. All right. Who let us on the internet? I don't know. Yeah, as you can see there, though, like Debra Messing looks like Lucille Ball. And here's the thing. Debra Messing can act. She's not just like some throwaway, like, yeah, she's good on a sitcom, but she's not award-winning. Like, that's dumb. No, she's been in she's carried like great roles. She can act. This would be the type of movie that I think would net her like an Oscar. Like we're talking about this movie being kind of like award bait. Get somebody who not only looks like Lucille Ball, but can definitely portray the character that was Lucille Ball. And I think Debra Messing would be a fantastic cast for that. Now, obviously, I don't know if they're going to they wouldn't want to go the Debra Messing route just because of maybe that Will and Grace thing. It's like, it's a little derivative. But that's the realm you need to be floating in. Someone like her, someone like Kristen Wiig, someone who can portray that kind of character and look like Lucille Ball.
So I mean, I made the mention of Judy earlier. That slight biopic of Judy Garland. So that one starred Renee Zellweger, who got the Oscar for that performance, and much deservedly so. She did fantastic in the movie. If you haven't seen that, I recommend it. It is a slow movie, but it's good. Like the performances are so fantastic in that. But like, what was I thinking? Renee Zellweger. She's a very good actress, but she's not like, I would say, not quite like Nicole Kidman A-list. She's up there. She's very high up there, but I don't necessarily think that is like the big like name getter for that movie until they showed the picture of her. There was that one picture, that first picture that came out of her as Judy Garland, where she's kind of like looking up or whatever. And you're like, that's not a picture of Renee Zellweger. That's a picture of that's a picture of Renee Zellweger. You people need to go see this movie. I think something like that. You didn't get like a top of the line name, but you got the person that was the perfect fit for that role. And I believe I would agree that's what I would feel like Debra Messing was in this.
Now, on the flip side, though, for Javier Bardem, I can see a world with proper makeup and proper hairstyling where he can look somewhat close to Desi Arnaz. Yeah. And I fully trust that he has the acting ability to pull off the character of Desi Arnaz. The thing is that Desi Arnaz is not as polarized, that would be the right word here, of an icon as, say, Lucille Ball was on her own. So he isn't as over the top there. He isn't as over the top of a character as Lucille Ball was. And so there isn't that much over the top you need to go with whoever is casted in that role.
Which is, that's why the show was I Love Lucy and not I Love Desi. Everyone went into that knowing Lucille Ball was the focal point of the show.
Right. And so I can see a world where Javier Bardem can be casted. I think that you can get closer still. Now, I don't have anyone in my mind right now. I didn't have anyone picked out.
Oscar Isaac.
Maybe.
Possibly.
Pedro Pascal, maybe. I mean, we're talking about the guys who are like hot right now. Like these are the guys that everyone would want to flock to for that kind of a role. But
yeah,
maybe. I mean, wouldn't it be funny if it was like Kristen Wiig and Pedro Pascal? And it's like, hey, we're having a Wonder Woman 84 reunion in an I Love Lucy movie.
Yeah, you got your Wonder Woman in my I Love Lucy.
I don't know. I'm just not really a fan of Nicole Kidman and I guess Javier Bardem in these roles. I think they could do better.
Yeah, and that's what I'm hoping to see. Yeah, I hate the cast. I would like to see the story of how Lucille Ball saves Star Trek. I'm not that familiar, unfortunately, with the story of Lucille Ball in Star Trek. I believe she like guest starred, and that was like a big ratings getter, just because people wanted to see Lucy in a sci-fi TV show. That would be my guess, and that's what makes sense. But yeah,
I love that one. Actually, get Kate Mulligan to come in and play Lucille Ball.
I mean, I kind of see it.
I think you give her like the red hair wig and everything. She's got the she can do those kinds of like noises and stuff. That'd be funny. But
and that's right. Yeah, Hamstrakt's talking about Aaron Sorkin is the writer of this movie as well. So Aaron Sorkin has done some good things.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean that's one
side of it. That's right. Desilu produced Star Trek. Okay. So that was the production company of Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball, yeah.
Oh, I couldn't tell at all by the name.
I don't want to leave anything out there for people to try to guess or assume. We know what assumptions do, so just want to make sure we're all clear on this and we're all on the same proverbial page here.
Yep.
Anyways, speaking of page, Hamstrakt dropped in a $20 super chat.
Hey.
Movie Rec. Luz, the Flower of Evil, WandaVision says, I'm original and interesting. Luz, the Flower of Evil responds, hold my beer. I'm not familiar with this. Like, I'm going to take a guess that this is something along the lines of what WandaVision's doing, but something we might have to look into if you're really into like that kind of where WandaVision's going with the far out there multiverse type of thing.
And I've already heard that WandaVision is kind of the MCU's like Legion. They're just far out there, crazy show.
You know, I started watching Legion and I knew what I was getting into with that, and I couldn't do it. Like my ADD was just too far. Like I can't concentrate on just the multiple bouncing and like and it's sad because I did like what's his name that played
Stevens?
David in that. Yeah, I like him, and I like Aubrey Plaza. I really like Aubrey Plaza. And then there was also the fact that the creator of the show, man, I am dropping names on that. The creator of the show also named a character Syd Barrett after Syd Barrett from Pink Floyd, which I'm a huge fan of. So I like the connections there for that. I couldn't sit through the show. So I've heard it was good. I've read a couple of things about like where the series went. The characters in it. It sounds like it was really good. I like the ideas that they had for it. But yeah, that's it. Noah Hawley. Yep. He's a big Pink Floyd fan as well. I couldn't sit down to watch that. It looked like it was too hard. I did start watching. What's the other one that came out at the same time? The Gifted. I did.
Yeah,
that one wasn't too bad. But then it just kind of lost me because I found other things to do. So, anyways, yeah. So Lucille Ball movie's coming out. Might be interesting. We'll see how We'll see how that goes, and if the casting that we know of right now is actually the way the casting's going to go. We'll see what it's about. So Luz is a Colombian movie with a Technicolor flavor to it about a guy who unintentionally kills children who he thinks is the next coming of Christ. And it's, well, that sounds fabulous.
That sounds insane.
That sounds fantastic right there. That's weird. Well, I might look it up just to see what. Just Off the Wall is kind of like in my realm of something I want to check out. So we'll see. Off the Wall. You know what else is off the wall? This segue, because I'm trying to connect it to Mortal Kombat. You know what else is off the wall is they're making another movie about Mortal Kombat.
There you go.
That works. So the official synopsis, we got a couple of pictures, which I don't have here because I had to work today, so I didn't have time to prepare for with images for this tonight. Again, if my new laptop was working, I would have had that, but it isn't working yet. But they released these images of the new Mortal Kombat movie, which is going to be coming out pretty soon, and they also released the synopsis for this. Which is basically talking about a new character, Cole Young, who's an MMA fighter. He's got some kind of a weird heritage connection to someone in Mortal Kombat, essentially. I'm going to just go and throw out a guess that he's probably connected to Raiden somehow, like a relative of Raiden or something. But this whole synopsis is talking about what this movie is about, and essentially we are looking at this movie from his point of view, from Cole Young's point of view, going into the world of Outworld and Earthrealm and the Mortal Kombat tournament. Up until this point, all we've known about this Mortal Kombat movie really is it's going to rely very heavily on like Sub-Zero versus Scorpion, that they're like rivalry brothers. The movie's going to be rated R, and we're going to get fatalities, like actual gory fatalities like that were in the original video game.
Or as much as they could do without making the movie NC-17.
Yeah. I mean, I believe you could get away with, like, say, like Scorpion just grabbing a skull and ripping the whole skull and spine out of a person in this movie, and you'd be fine. And I'm all here for that. I absolutely love to see something like that on the big screen.
I will not be seeing this movie.
Yeah, I will. So stay tuned for the official Cinefanatics review of this movie coming from me.
Cinefanatic.
The Cinefanatic review is just one. Just a piece of the Cinefanatics. But they released the synopsis with it, and there's a couple of takeaways from this that sounds very interesting. One of which that I like to point out is this basically makes it sound like Kano is on the side of good. Anyone who's watched the original movie and or knows the video game, Kano's not necessarily a good person. I don't know if we're setting up for the fact that Kano might betray everyone later, but anyways, you have thoughts on that real quick? Because I have another point to this as well.
Yeah, not so much Kano, but more so just like what the original, what the directors and all that are saying. Producers, directors, actors, all that are saying about how the
this always looks like she's staring at the wall.
Yes. What they say about like the look of the movie and everything, and it sounds like it is actually on the right path for what a Mortal Kombat movie should look like. They're making it kind of like keeping the gritty tone, like literally like messy and dirty and all that. I'm like, okay, it sounds like they're at least trying to respect the game and the origins of Mortal Kombat and all that.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Especially when you look back on it for a very long while, you ask like anyone who's like even a casual movie lover, like, hey, in your opinion, what would you say was the best video game movie adaptation? Most people would have probably said Mortal Kombat. It was good. It was still really cheesy, really hokey. It was PG-13. It didn't have those fatalities in there. It was very, very light, very family friendly-ish. But it was a good adaptation, I would have said as well. This is going to be challenging that because it does, while it was a cheesy movie, it still had that level of quality to it that a lot of people went with as being a good video game movie. Now, granted, we're not like we're trying to be like essentially like the smartest dumb kid here in this group. I mean, it's not hard to be the best video game movie.
Yes, it is.
Well, I mean, but I mean, since then we've had movies that I think either one of us would say are easily a better video game movie since then. Detective Pikachu, even Sonic the Hedgehog was probably a better video game adaptation than the original 95 Mortal Kombat. Yep. It's still good. I'll still watch the original Mortal Kombat. I just watched it again not a couple of months ago, and it's still cheesy, but still good. I enjoyed it. I won't watch Mortal Kombat Annihilation again, though. I saw that in the theater once, and I refuse to watch that piece of anymore. So, anyways, the first one, though, still kind of holds
garbage.
Up.
He said piece of garbage.
Piece of garbage. Yeah. But I mean, that's the level that this is having to compare to. And again, that most people had the opinion that it was the best video game adaptation for so long. Can this new Mortal Kombat movie live up to the predecessor and hit that as well?
I think this one's definitely got a lot more hype around it. And it's mostly because they have started the marketing on it by, when I say marketing, I mean just whenever they publicly speak about what they're doing with the movie. They started on the right foot for people who love Mortal Kombat, and that's, hey, yeah, we're going to include fatalities in it. We're actually going to include fatalities. They're going to be They will be fatalities. And everyone's like, cool, you're on the right track. Sounds good to me.
Right.
And that's, yeah, so you're already hooking in like the Mortal Kombat faithful going, all right, we'll give it a pretty good shot then. Sounds like you know what you're doing, and you're changing it up very much from what's come before, and you're actually doing something new and different, at least for a movie anyway. So again, that's not specifically my cup of tea, but as far as what you need to do to portray the video game of Mortal Kombat accurately, yeah, the fatalities are necessary for the film.
Yeah. Yeah, to give it the legitimacy that it needs, that would be great. I know Hamstrakt is saying here in the chat, Silent Hill. I saw Silent Hill in the theater and I fell asleep during it. Now, real quick in my defense, I'm not familiar with the video game at all. I just know it's a spooky video game. So,
and I think all this is ridiculous because actually Super Mario Brothers was the best video game movie ever made.
Whatever. There goes all of our viewers. You're only saying that because we met John Leguizamo. And you're like, hey, I love you as Luigi. No, we didn't say that to John Leguizamo. We're not stupid.
Look down on the floor to your left.
Oh, there's that name.
Yeah, pick that name back up that you just dropped there.
Let me put that right back up here.
So,
Lola, why didn't you pick up that name? I dropped it rightfully for you.
Yeah, so I say that strictly because honestly, it's more of like iconic how ridiculous and stupid that movie was, the Super Mario Brothers movie. It's more of like it's one of those so bad it's got such a cult following now that's like, we all know how bad the Super Mario Brothers movie is, and in that way it's kind of endearing, but in no way, shape, or form is it actually a good representation of Super Mario Brothers or really a good movie. I
have watched it multiple times, like since it's come out in the theater, just because I probably just needed something goofy to play in the background, and I was like, why not?
Yeah.
I remember seeing it as a kid, and I'm like, oh, it's Mario. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So, I do we have any kind of high hopes for this movie? I mean, it sounds like you're already kind of like, I don't know, based on the direction they want to go with the main character and who is he, and he's nobody from the actual game. So, what?
Yeah.
But
Like, who's directing Mortal Kombat? What is their history? It's being directed by Simon McQuaid, who has no history. He did a short film. That would probably be, as much as we're saying, like, this sounds like this is the right direction. This sounds like it could be good. That's going to give me a little bit of pause, is that this is someone who has no experience, as far as we know, in directing a full-fledged blockbuster movie like Mortal Kombat should be. And
this isn't the type of person that I would have even thought a studio would have hired to direct a movie with as big of a following as the Mortal Kombat name has.
yeah,
The short looks like it's a minute long.
I would have actually probably have gone, I would have gone for something more like a James Wan or Justin Lin, and neither of those two because they're Asian. It's just because those two have proven themselves in this kind of a storyline to be really good. Justin Lin has nailed down action set pieces in the Fast and Furious movie. James Wan obviously is a master at horror type situations, which Mortal Kombat, I mean, first of all, you've got some very scary things in that, and second of all, you do have the gore and stuff from like
James Wan is producing it though, right? I saw his name at least.
He actually, let me double check. I do believe he does have a hand in this.
His name is attached to production, which is the only thing that would give me hope about that project, is that his name is at least attached to the production of it. So yeah, at least it's not Simon Kimber or Ortiz or Kurtzman.
Oh,
or Uwe Boll.
Yeah, yeah, Uwe Boll with his Uwe Boll has done, like, I think he did the movie Postal, which I believe was based off a video game. That one wasn't bad. A weird subject matter, of course, but it wasn't a bad movie. Everything else he's done, bad movie, just very bad movie. And what, is he going to challenge me to a boxing match also? No.
Bad movie, just very bad movie.
But yeah, I mean, I'm interested in this, but that's probably the only negative thing that I've seen so far. Now, my negative thing in the fact that this is a director that has no experience, as far as we can tell, for all we know, he could be coming in like an awesome person. I want to say another word, but I can't. He could come in like just a bad type of director and just completely, like, he just knows what to do instinctively. He doesn't need that experience. He didn't need to prove to us beforehand. He just came in, and this Mortal Kombat movie is going to be what he uses to show us why he can do other things. When we all like, who's this guy? And we look back at his history. Oh yeah, he did that 2021 Mortal Kombat. That movie was fantastic. I trust him to do everything. That could be what this is setting us up for, but
the likelihood of that is slim, but you never know. We don't know until we actually see it. So
there's jobs out there I know I could actually do that I have no experience in, and no one's going to hire me for them because I don't have that experience on a piece of paper. But me personally, I know I can do them. It's that kind of a scenario. Jeff Snyder boxed. Is that true? Did that actually happen? Because I want to see that.
Yeah, what pay-per-view is that under?
Yeah, I will pay to see that one. Jeff Snyder is one of the more prolific writers for Collider. He's also a part of the movie Trivia Schmodown. Anyone who's watching this who's not familiar, that's where that reference comes from.
Yep.
Oh.
Anyway, do we have any other movie news, or is that wraps it up?
That wraps up the movie news for tonight. What do y'all, those of y'all in the chat, again, thank y'all for being here. Y'all have any other comments, any questions, anything else? Get those dropped in so we can start answering those. Let's start doing like some plugging real quick. What else do we have?
Plug it in.
I keep having to check a couple of things.
So we talked about, tomorrow we're going to have the movie trivia scrimmage, the little private hangout. We're all gonna do some movie trivia. We're gonna ask questions to each other. That's at the $25 tier on our Patreon. If you want to be a part of that, you can actually, and we'll probably make a post on the Patreon tonight. But we'll put a post out there. If you sign up for the Patreon, you can get that first one. I think Vernon's actually wanting to throw that out to the other 10 individuals, anybody who's not already part of that $25 tier. If you want to just kind of jump in and hang out and do trivia with us, Vernon is actually going to throw out the offer to cover the difference for you between the tier you're at and the $25 tier to be a part of that tomorrow night. So that's for the people who are already on our Patreon. Anyone else, if you want to jump on the Patreon, it is at that $25 tier. So hopefully we get to see you tomorrow. Feel free to jump on there. If you don't want to do that tier, there's still plenty of tiers that are available for you to jump onto and get some really cool stuff. I know at the $5 tier, we're doing movie watch-alongs. We just did the National Treasure one. That is up and available on Patreon for you already. We'll be doing another one next month, so you'll be able to hang out at that tier with us during those watch-alongs. And typically, we'll try to watch movies that you can get on a streaming service that you more than likely already are subscribed to. So that's usually what we try to keep with those. But I know that the $1 tier, at the very least, all tiers do, but the $1 tier at the very least, you get access to our Discord, where we're starting a movie-loving community back there. And there's going to be a lot of fun stuff that we want to do with that Discord and the community that's being built out over there. So if you are part of our Patreon and you aren't actually on that Discord yet, let us know and we will send you the invite to get on there, because I know that usually that Discord sign up connects with your Patreon email, and if that email is also connected to the email that you have for Discord, it'll automatically invite you to it. Otherwise, we would have to do that. But anyway, yeah, jump on that Patreon, get on that $1 tier, join our Discord, and let's hang out and talk about movies and stuff, and build up just a movie-loving community and a loving of each other community over there. A nice little positive hangout. We're building a cult. No. Who said that? Get out of here.
Do want some Kool-Aid. That sounds good.
Would you like some Nikes? Anyway, we're doing all sorts of cool stuff over there.
You got some new Jordans? I'll take the new Jordans.
And then the other thing that we're doing, again, this Friday will be the 3rd episode of WandaVision. Cool stuff that we're starting this year on this channel is that we're doing these kinds of breakdowns, Easter egg diggings, and reviews for these big popular shows like the Marvel shows, the Star Wars shows, all that kind of stuff that's coming down the pipeline. Right now, we've got WandaVision. The 3rd episode is coming out this Friday. We will probably stay up really late Thursday night and check it out, and then we'll have a nice little breakdown and kind of theorizing what's going on now in talk and all that stuff over WandaVision. So that's going to be live on this channel, probably around the 9 p.m. time frame. So you're going to want to come back here Friday, 9 p.m. Central Time, I should say, Friday for that. So that's 7 Pacific and 10 Eastern. So
I know we had a lot of fun with last week's blah blah blah. We had a lot of fun with the previous episode that was on this past Friday, where we got to give our reviews and kind of pick apart some Easter eggs. So if you have found some Easter eggs in this next episode, bring them. Like, come back, watch that 3rd episode, and then bring your thoughts, your feelings, your suspicions, your curiosities. Bring them back live to this show on Friday so we can all talk about them. You might find something that we missed completely. There was a lot of stuff that was mentioned in other like breakdowns and Easter egg findings and YouTube channels and articles that we didn't mention this past Friday. You might find one as well. So let's talk about them, because I want to know about all of them. I'm a huge fan so far. I love where this is going.
Yep.
The other thing I want to promote real quick, and I don't know if we have a thumbnail for it. Let me see if I can find it. Huh?
Thursday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does not look like there's a thumbnail for it yet. We will be over, both of us will be over on the PJ Campbell Network Thursday night. Just if you're looking for it, just Google or on YouTube, look up PJ Campbell Network. We will be over there with a couple of our friends. I guess we're playing Mario Party over there. I love Mario Party. Mario Party is a blast. So we will be over there engaging with those fine folks at that channel, playing Mario Party, having a blast, just kind of shooting the stuff that we can't say on this channel that we'll probably say over there if you go
Stop it. Yeah, we're going to be hanging out over there with them, and I believe Vinny Mancuso is actually going to be hanging out and playing Mario Party with us as well. So
the guy who was in charge of this channel when we had blackouts, yay!
If you go back and look at our Schmodown replay, the Schmodown show that we were doing this last year, there's an episode where we had Vinny Mancuso on the show, and it was just a ton of fun. He's a ton of fun to hang out with, so it's going to be a blast to play some Mario Party with him as well.
Yeah. So that's going to be a blast. I can't remember like what time that is. Off the top of my head, I want to say it was was it 11:30 Central, 9:30 Pacific?
Figure it out real quick.
Yeah, because I know we got tagged in it on Twitter today.
Oh yeah.
If I remember correctly, it's 11:30 Central, 9:30 Pacific, 12:30 Eastern. It's going to be late. Drinks will be flowing. Comedies will be had. Laughter will be shared.
Yep, 9:30 Pacific time, 12:30 Eastern. Yep.
Yeah. So come back for that as well. They use I feel like I've heard about this before, that it was actually Flavor Aid and not Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Like Kool-Aid was used much like how we refer to, at least here in Texas, we refer to all soda as Coke. When you need a tissue, you call it Kleenex, that kind of thing.
I refer to soda. So that's your Cult of Fanatics, guys. That's your Cult of Fanatics for this week.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it as far as plugging in. We're gonna try to get our next ranking video will be cranked out and available next Wednesday. So be on the lookout for that. And then, of course, next Tuesday will also be Tagline. Right back here at the same Tagline time, same Tagline channel.
Yep. So all sorts of fun stuff, guys. Hang out, come back. And if you're not subscribed yet for some reason, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Do all that fun YouTube stuff. And
the button.
Okay, stop it. And we'll hopefully see you next time. So
yeah. So thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for being a part of this tonight. It was great having y'all in the chat. Hopefully, Garth, this wasn't a waste of your mime. So thank y'all for being here. We will see y'all next week, and y'all have a great evening and good night.
See ya. Peace.